Brother, my working thesis, so I want to start from the great law book, the great scriptures, and go immediately to today. The ultimate choice that we're offered, if you believe in the law book, is that we have basically one choice. We can worship the creator, the source of all things, or we can worship materialism, mammon, false idols, the system stuff. We can chase, gold, girls, and glory, or we can chase wisdom, right? And seek that wisdom. And so here's my working theory. The bottom line is the connective tissue that has enslaved mankind through psyop, through taxation, through debt, through the monetary system that has ensnared kind of connected globalism writ large through from 1913 to the Federal Reserve to the BIS to the entire global system that has been basically reverse engineered around this 80-year-old world reserve currency. What we're seeing, I believe, is a systematic implosion of that system and its connective tissue. We're at the 80-year mark today from this year, from 1944, Bretton Woods establishing the world reserve currency, to 2024. 80 years is the high end of the average lifespan of a fiat currency before it collapses and goes to zero. Okay? President Trump, and I believe Commander in Chief Trump, has talked for 20 or 30 or 40 years about leveling the playing field, having stopping these perverted trade deals, and giving everyone an equal opportunity, basically sound money. The only way to level the playing field is to get rid of this one world reserve currency, which is dying or has already died since 2008. It's been on life support since then. Given that, it seems to me that out of the chaos of the swamp in Washington, D.C., we've seen nothing but childish buffoonery, dysfunction, and evil at best coming out of this dysfunctional non-governmental organization known as the District of Columbia. Except all of a sudden in the last 5 days, boom, we got this brand new blockchain bill that is articulated like with precision as if a financial engineer wrote the bill. And everyone from the time it came onto the scene to it getting voted with a supermajority of 60 votes in the Senate and sent on to Biden, all of a sudden, magically, out of the swamp comes stablecoin blockchain enabling legislation written by actual competent adults out of nowhere, and it gets signed. To me, SG, my question is, we're either watching a play, or we know for a fact that these people are following orders and reading scripts and writing legislation. Why all of a sudden, boom, 6.5%, 7%, 8% increase in silver prices today? Blockchain legislation that is absolutely critical for stable coins and liquidity that will replace the old Rothschild fiat monetary system. We get enabling legislation this week. We see silver go up 8.5% today, one of the most historic rises ever in history, amidst this swamp in Washington, D.C. I can't see anything other than this is a orchestrated, methodical takedown of the old monetary system of centralization and global Marxism into the world of decentralization, which is going to bring sovereignty back to the 205 nations on earth. Can you comment on that for me?
Well, my friend, I feel like you've just outlined a major area of operations for a multidimensional worldwide military alliance. And it sort of echoes in the same theme, right, as to the various maneuvers we've seen from the NATO disempowerment and the buffoonery and the management of, this and supply of arms and arm chains throughout Europe. the rhetoric from the pulpits of government powers in Europe, which are, that rhetoric, a lot of people make the connection that, of course, it stokes the flames of war, but it puts immense downward pressure on financial markets, right? And that's something that people have to remember when you're talking about, rhetoric that's undesirable for your average ordinary person. It's usually undesirable for a great many members of those trading markets, except for the ones perhaps at the very, very top that have this umbrella view, and they're in that more puppeteering style role. And those are the ones that have lost that puppeteer control because of what you just described a second ago. And isn't it very interesting that 36 hours ago, I think it was, not even 36 hours ago, we saw Thomas Massey introduce legislation to end the Federal Reserve here in the United States of America. Marjorie Taylor Greene co-sponsors that legislation, and then less than 24 hours later decides to make the biggest, most dramatic fight between herself and one Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in such a fashion that it almost reeks of a counterintelligence diversion maneuver. And so a diversion maneuver to what end? Perhaps to hide what's going on with the House Finance Committee, for example, just as a speculation. That's not a confirmation or a hint, it's just a speculation. It would make a lot of sense. And if we're advancing, again, the movement of a changeover in the way of life, all of this would build over, and build on top of Quantum Act of 2018, the various notes and guidances that have come from the Office of the Comptroller, the various actions currently undertaken by the SEC, and what's being adjudicated in court for the permanent public record regarding U.S. finance and the SEC's involvement in U.S. finance. And against all of this, you still have the states themselves, now 2 of them, with 4 more, I believe, on the way, that are having open debate within their internal state legislative chambers about establishing a decentralized state bank with an asset-backed currency and the ability to conduct interstate commerce and financial transactions here inside the Union of the United States. It's a magical time, I think, really to be alive when you appreciate the different feeders that are informing the changes happening in the world right now. But it could not have occurred without the use of the United States military and militaries all around the world, and patriots that were willing to sidestep the traitors within their own ranks and do right by mankind.